So I know this may be a strange video for you weebs, and I know most of you bitches never played a sport at a high level. And that's me! I'm bitches. Well, I played ball in high school, but you know I rode that bench like Costco rode Griffith. But not seriousness, I've always loved sports anime. Yeah, it's tropey. However, the whole competing as one and working together in a shared passion with other members is something that I could never hate to see. One thing I especially enjoy about sports anime is that it breaks the whole big muscular dude easily gets the shit kicked out of him by a smaller opponent, usually our protagonist, as a way of showing off how strong the main character is. This usually stems from the whole David vs Goliath narrative. However, sports anime tends to break this trend by having both David and Goliath in the same team. It's usually a pair where one is visibly weaker than average and the other one is visibly stronger, yet they play off each other. The bigs aren't just an easy target for the protagonist to beat up to show off how OP they are. In sports anime, when someone is big, you know there will be a problem in the show. They get to act big, they get to be dominant. If someone in a sports anime is 7 feet tall, you will feel it. The protagonist won't be like, "Impersonal kid," and then suddenly they're dead while everyone stands in awe. The David of the pair will still be able to surpass them, but it will be out of skill and grueling effort, and not just a roundhouse kick to the face by a short king protagonist. This skill is very believable since the smaller players have been short their whole lives. It makes sense that they have developed skills to get around their smaller, weaker stature, while in most cases the stronger of the pair have let it get to their head and can't relate to the weaker of the pair.
バスケが好きで上手くなるために努力する。その何がいけないんですか？いけないよ、無意味じゃん。頑張れば誰でも夢は叶うと思ってんの。努力が実るとは限らない。そんなもん常識でしょ。
なんせ二人が歩んできたバスケット人生は全く逆だからな。バスケにさして興味がないにもかかわらず才能に恵まれ勝ち続けてきた紫原。好きでも才能に恵まれず絶望すら味わってやっと活路を見つけた鉄。そんな二人に同じ価値観を持てっつうのが無理なんだ。
However, while the Goliath will almost always learn the concept of teamwork from the David will also understand that holding hands and saying nice words among the team isn't always going to be enough. Ideals alone can't carry the team. Or, in other words, you can't talk no jutsu your way to a ring. That at times, you just have to let the best player cook.
Hold up. Let him cook!
But they also need to learn that they need to grow as individuals. At the end of the day, a group is just a collective of, well, individuals. In most cases, there's usually a fight or an arc where both sides usually split, and while there are great examples of these sorts of things in many sports anime, I think an anime that does these two aspects right is Kuroko's Basket.
まさかそれって一人でってこと？お
う、じゃあ頼んだわ。
なんか軽くないですか、キャプテン。
むしろ何突っ込んでんだ。今までもずっとそうだったじゃねえか。奇跡の世代とやるならこういう局面は必ず来る。エースに託さなきゃならねえ時が。
鏡君。
これが限界なのかもな。正直もっとやれると思ってたけどこのざまだ。圧倒的な力の前では力を合わせるだけじゃ勝てねえんじゃねえのか。
I know that Kuroko's Basket can sometimes be a bit, well, fake.
Playing no games? What is that? What is that? Wait!
However, I was obsessed with this show during my senior year of high school. I'm a sucker for what I like to call the Elite Four trope serves several purposes in storytelling. It provides a sense of progression and challenge for the protagonist as they must defeat increasingly difficult opponents to reach the final battle. It allows for the introduction of multiple characters with distinct personalities and abilities, which can add depth and variety to the story. Finally, it provides a satisfying climax to the story as the protagonist must overcome the greatest challenge yet in order to achieve their goal, that being the final boss. There's also the sense of mystery in like what could the next person's ability be. In Kuroko, you had more or less a sense of what the Generation of Miracles ability was going to be, since you pretty much figured it was going to revolve around their position somehow. While it was kind of obvious that the point guard would have something to do with court vision, the shooting guard was going to have something to do with 3-point shooting, all the forwards are going to be this sort of wing, all-around style of play, and the center was going to be a paint monster, it was still kind of interesting seeing it all finally coming to fruition. However, it's not the best basketball anime. In fact, I would put it third behind Ahiro no Sora and Slam Dunk. It is, however, the best anime about basketball. To explain, Kuroko is much better than shonen in the sense that it follows a David and Goliath being on the same team trope that I like so much with Kagami and Kuroko. It has that Elite Four troop in the Generation of Miracles, and the whole winning the final game and becoming champions coincidentally on the final shot. However, it is so far removed from real life basketball. This isn't to say it's a bad anime. However, as someone who loves the game of basketball, a show like Slam Dunk and Ahiro no Sora sits so much better with me. I won't touch Slam Dunk too much because honestly I can make an entire video on that on its own. However, Ahiro no Sora is a basketball anime that I enjoy very much. Although it doesn't have some of the previous tropes that I enjoyed, it is still an underdog story of a short kid who loves basketball. Although this is very cliche, it is something that is unfortunately real in the world of basketball and very common in our world. At least the sport of volleyball has a libero position. However, I really enjoy how Sora's backstory is handled. It really shows the trauma of growing up short, the desperation to even play, and getting overlooked when you probably deserve to get picked.
ふてくされてんの？補欠なんて毎度のことじゃない。これはもう人種差別だ。チビはバスケやるなってことなんだ。なにそれ。だってあの監督、一度も僕のこと使ってくれないじゃん。この前の測定会はどうだったの？もう結果出たんでしょ？総合で一番！ドリブル走も？50メートル走も？もちろん！なのに、いつもこれだもん。嫌になっちゃうよな。
And lastly, one thing that really sucks and it isn't talked about enough frankly.
私ね、ずっと空に謝りたかったことがあるんだ。
何？
大きく産んであげられなくてごめんね。
何言ってんだよ。っていうかさ、聞いてよ。今日の対戦相手に190の人が3人もいてさ、190だよ。参っちゃうよ、ほんと。でもやれた。
That part tore me open. This is not discussed as much, but parental guilt is a big factor in sports. A lot of times parents feel the guilt of their kid not coming out tall or athletic like as if it's somehow their fault. However, there's also guilt when it comes to poverty. The stress of a child having to dream not only as a passion, but as a way to one day hopefully get their parents out of the slump is a very common issue as well.
Hana! Look, the reason I play, why I want this so bad, is for her! If I go pro, I'll make a ton of money, and then she won't have to work as hard. I know myself. I'm not a smart guy, so this is my best shot at earning enough money to make my mom's life easier. That's why I have to go pro, no matter what! But
The show is also a great introduction to the club system of soccer. I knew a bit about the club system in the EU, but this was the first time I heard of concepts like youth clubs and whatnot in soccer. This probably explains why soccer superstars are sometimes really young. Before the NBA added the 1-year college rule, players could be drafted straight out of high school. This meant young players had the incentive to try and go after high school since the NCAA didn't pay their athletes. Sadly, it's about the money sometimes. and I appreciate Ayo for demonstrating this side of sports that's rarely talked about. In fact, this explains him having to accept a position change so drastic, something that I never thought I would see in a sports anime.
If you knew I couldn't be a forward, why didn't you tell me? Why wait till now?
You wouldn't have come if I did. This was the best time to do it.
No! I don't want to be a defender, please! Please, old man! Please, no!
If it's not what you want, then you're certainly free to leave. We can't hold on to players we know will never be good enough.
Ayo also learns to put his pride aside and focus more as a team, learning that even though he's a forward, or at least was a forward, he realized it doesn't mean he always has to score, right? What's that noise?